Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Screenshot, your go-to destination for youth culture, entertainment, and social news. My name is Melinda, and I'm your host. And joining me today is Andile, a phenomenal young woman who's done so much in her community. But I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us more about who she is and what she do. Hi, Andile.
Hi, Melinda.
Welcome to The Screenshot. If you could tell our audience what it is that you do, who Andile is generally, so that will be nice.
Okay, thank you for having me. So my name is Andile Ashley Magunje. I'm 20 years old and I'm a girls' rights and climate advocate.
Okay, so I did not mention Ogutu Andile is here representing Amplifying Girls' Voices through Digital Arts. But first of all, I want us to talk about you, Andile, and like, where did you go to school, stuff like that, you know? So Zakala Kwapa, and then your journey leading to you joining Amplifying Girls' Voices through Digital Arts.
Okay, so I graduated high school in 2022. I was learning at Founders. A-level, I did mathematics, biology, chemistry. I've sort of always had a passion for like human rights, particularly girls' rights. And so in high school, in my final year in high school, I was in junior council. I was also part of an organization called the Amazon Leadership Initiative. I was Secretary General for Southern Africa. So yeah, those are some of the experiences that I feel like fed into me being part of Amplifying Girls' Voices. And then 2022, when I was in Upper 6, that's when I joined Amplifying Girls' Voices through the people I knew, the networks I had. That's how I got to know about the organization.
Okay, so what is Amplifying Girls' Voices through Digital Arts? Because someone is listening and they're like, you joined Amplifying, but what is it? So what is it?
So Amplifying Girls' Voices through Digital Arts is a girl-centered and girl-led initiative that uses digital arts to advocate for girls' rights. Things like ending child marriages, rape, gender-based violence, and all things relating to like inequalities that affect girls specifically. So when we say digital arts, we use short films, we have a digital magazine, and we also host podcasts. Yeah.
So you guys do a lot for spreading the word about issues that young girls face. I like that. So let's talk about some of the projects that you guys have undertaken. So if you could name maybe one that like stands out for you, that's in your heart, Sibili, I'm really proud of us. We really took this issue and we put it out there.
In general, I'm proud of everything. I feel like we've been able to use creativity, like our creative energies, to talk about something that's very important, right? So in general, I'm proud of everything, but I could say what I really liked is a series that I was a part of. The series is called Ihlazo. It's there on our YouTube channel, Amplifying Girls' Voices TV, and it's a 13-episode series where the story is about my older sister, Caesar. She's married and she's not happy in her marriage. She keeps having miscarriages, and then the husband wants her to keep on having kids, but she's unable to. And we do know, Uti, in our culture, there are some harmful norms, like Uti, if your sister can't give birth, when she dies, when you're the one who's going to marry your sister's husband and stuff like that. So that was the main conversation. We also had other things happening on the side, like dating, relationships, and all things young people. So I really liked that series so much. And I feel like it helped us create space for people to talk about some of these things that are happening in our homes and the community. So I was really impressed by the impact it had. If you look at the views on YouTube, they're impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, I don't mean to put our city down, but especially for Bulawayo, because not most of our local content is consumed by most people. Because, you know, I saw the series briefly, but I saw the numbers. So I'm yet to dive deep from episode 1 to episode 13 to actually to get what everything is about. So now let's talk about a little bit about Ihlazo and the issues that you guys were covering. And as a young person who probably okay, I'm just going to generalize it, and who's never come across such situations, and then you are there in the set, and you're now thrust into this, and now you're an actress. How does it feel? Like you now have to portray a very important issue, I have to add.
Yes.
So how does it feel for you?
Well, I feel like even though some of the things, they are not things I've experienced, but it's things that it's things that you hear on a call with your grandmother, uthi uzibani bani khaya sechadile and she's 16 and stuff like that. So I feel like even though the story is not entirely about my experiences, in a way I can relate. So telling the story wasn't very, very difficult for me. I felt like these are things that I've seen happening, things I've read about before. So yeah, but it was a very powerful experience because it sort of put me in the shoes of other people, other young girls, and these kind of experiences that they're having, you know. So yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, you were great. So my other question is, you know, you guys focus a lot on issues that are so heavy, you know, like most people that maybe in the city, they don't know these things are going on. And so how do you think the state is in letting the youth know about the issues? Because you guys are more like advocates, isn't it? You advocate for a lot of issues. What's also the reception like when you go out there and tell other people, try to get them interested in these types of things? What's the general reaction and reception from young people?
Well, I feel like because it's digital media, because we're using films, that makes us relevant, and we're sort of entertaining you, but at the same time there's a purpose, there's a story that we're trying to tell. So I feel like the reception is good. You can tell like from the views even, right? And also because we do film screenings in the community every now and then. So we go to schools, we go to your youth centers, and sometimes even with religious groups to show maybe a popular film and that we feel is relevant during a certain time. And yeah, we see what people want more of this kind of content. They really do. One, it's nice to have content in your own language, like in Ndebele, because we mix English and Ndebele a lot. And two, it's nice to have actors who are from here, like it's literally here, you know, and maybe you can recognize a place or two from the films and you're like, okay.
Even the people, you know.
Yeah. So that's what makes it relevant, like the fact that it's local content, local language, and we're using digital media, which young people love, and young people want to see more because it's entertaining, and adults mostly want to see more because they feel like we are sparking conversations that even they can't have with their own children. Yeah.
I like your point on using digital media, because I feel like we're at that space, at that point in time where if you want to reach young people, you can't reach them anywhere else other than the phone, and that's the truth. So you guys were innovative in that way. Now let's talk about social media generally as a way of bringing change, you know, because most young people, the only thing that they're always doing, not the only, but most of the time you're on your phone, and that's where you are consuming this this information. How did that come about? Like, if you know the history of Amplified Girls, who said, you know what, guys, let's move away from the past and let's start doing this on social media.
Okay, so before Amplifying Girls' Voices through digital art started, there was 100 Girls, 100 Voices. It was a poetry project, and it was happening in person, it was physical, and then the pandemic happened, and then they thought, so how can we still continue to have this space for girls to talk about important issues? So that is when they were like, okay, let's do this and this and this, and leverage digital spaces to continue what we had already started. So it's more like a continuation. It expanded, of course, and yeah, it became more complex. So yeah, it started in June 2021, and the main reason was the pandemic, and also obviously the realization that digital spaces is the way to go for conversations with young people.
It really is the way to go. So shout out to you guys. So now let's talk about another thing. The one thing that I think is the main thing is girl empowerment. What is your stance on girl empowerment? If someone is to ask you, which someone is asking you, how do you feel about girl empowerment?
I feel like girl empowerment is important. I think that when you empower girls, you can actually, you're empowering a community. And the reason why I feel like girl empowerment is critical now is because we have so many other issues happening globally, right? Like I said, I'm also a climate advocate. So I realized that if we don't empower girls, we're just pushing our work backwards, not only like in terms of the gender equality movements, but also in climate work, in other sectors of sustainable development. We're also pulling ourselves backwards. But if we empower girls, make sure that they have access to education, make sure that their reproductive health and rights are prioritized, we are generally empowering the whole community. We are pushing for bigger and better things for everyone, not just for girls. Yeah.
Oh, there's been something controversial going around this past few weeks. Okay, maybe years, I'm not sure. Oguti, we've empowered girls enough. Stop it. I mean, girls are now just too empowered because we're forgetting the boy child in the process. That's what a lot of boys, even girls, are saying, Oguti, enough is enough. You're now empowered enough. What do you think about that? Do you think we've now reached a point where we are now equal to men?
Well, firstly, I want to say the statistics don't lie. Our work didn't just come out of thin air. It comes from statistics. We still have a huge crisis when it comes to child marriages in Zimbabwe. We still have harmful cultural practices that we read about every single day that are happening, right? So we cannot say girls are empowered enough when we still have those kind of articles, when we still have those numbers that are so alarming. So yeah, and after all, it's not really a fight of like saying, are we now equal to men? No, that's not where the movement is going. And anyway, what does it mean to be equal to men? You know, our fight is only to say girls' rights are human rights. If any other gender can have access to education, adequate health care, any economic opportunities, why not?
I agree with you because the girl empowerment movement started really because the girl child was in danger from a lot of things, and so I feel like we have not yet reached that point where we can say, Uti, we are safe. And I'm not taking away from the fact that the boy child is important. Some people will now say, Uti, umfana uti kaqakathekanga. But like you said, the statistics really do not lie.
And also, I want to add, Uti, like we say, this initiative is girl-led. Boys can also come together, start their own initiative that is boy-led. There's no one holding them back. Yeah, so it's all about deciding to start something. If you see a social problem, you can be the solution instead of saying girls are now too empowered and all that. We're doing our thing and we know why we're doing it.
And you're allowed to do your own thing.
Yes. Yeah, and so are they.
Okay. And speaking about youth-led initiatives, how important are they in our society? Because, you know, there's really... there's also statements that go around that say young people are not doing anything. You know, I'm a 2K. You know, you're now associated with not so good things, but there are people like you out there who are trying to do something, which is obviously changing the narrative of what 2Ks are. So let's talk youth-led initiatives. How important are they in our communities?
I think youth-led initiatives are very important. Like, I always say, why should there be a discussion about young people when young people are not present? Like, the person who has the problem has the most, I can say, the most effective solution to the problem because they're the one who's experiencing something, right? Looking at Tuwutitina, we're the largest demographic group globally, and especially in Africa, our futures are at stake if we have older generations sitting at tables and having conversations and we are absent. There's this quote that I like that says, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, which means someone else is leveraging your absence, like someone else is feeding on your absence. But if you're there, you can take charge, you can put forth your opinion, you can have plans, you can strategize and ensure that what you need is also being implemented.
I really wish other young people could hear this, because as much as we can preach it, and when it now comes down to it, most of our friends are not really there at the table, or want to be, or feel like they're able to. Maybe it's because they don't know that you have the ability to like start small, even going to ama community meetings. You don't have to go to parliament tomorrow. You can go to your local community meetings, your budget meetings, because my budget meetings, there's a part where they're talking about youth and what they're allocating for young people.
Exactly.
They're like, for the youth, there's no single young person. There's also a slogan that I like that you guys do. Time if it's not done. What do you say?
If it's not for us,
if we're not there,
something like there's another one that's similar as well that says anything for us without us is against us. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So lastly, Futi, on youth-led initiatives, I want you to encourage other young people out there. What are your words to say, Futi, when it comes to having these types of initiatives like the one that you represent, and encourage your friends, guys, we can do this. So a few words on that.
Okay, firstly, I just want to say I know that as young people, we're just socialized to believe that you're still too young to take up any leadership role. You don't have the right ideas. There's something about age and wisdom that we have in Zimbabwe. The older you are, the more it means you're capable of leading better. So I feel like young people need to understand that, those people who are there today and sitting at those tables, attending those budget meetings, like you said, they won't be there 20 years from now. And you're just going to face impacts of like a society where you could have done something 20 years ago, So I just want to encourage young people to take part. Like, I know these things, they may seem boring, but you will realize, it's fun. I love what I do, right? Of course, it seems serious, like, okay, leadership stuff, human rights, girls' rights, but that stuff is really empowering, like on a personal level, before we get to the impact you make on a community. You learn so much, you gain so many skills, and you're contributing towards a positive. I know we're together at the SRHR Youth Summit, and there was also something to do with so much drug abuse, mental health issues, because young people don't have much to do. And so this is another way you can use your time, like take part in these initiatives. Check out our social media platforms, Amplifying Girls' Voices through Digital Arts and Amplifying Girls' Voices TV. You will learn more about how you can join this organization, as well as look for other organizations online.
There's another thing that I think most young people don't realize, which the future is nearer than you think, So being part of these things is also building a foundation for your future. Yes, you're making an impact, but you're also growing connections and something like that. And it's always, Mouse, figure 5 years from now, and you've cemented yourself in certain places, and you will see things other than just relaxing, because you always think, I'll start 5 years from now, I'll still be young. But 5 years from now, they'll already be 5 years ahead, So, and also there's other thing that you said, Uti, if you're there like 20 years from now, sitting at the table now, being part of these things, and if you were not doing it now, I feel like you are also valela futi other young people in those spaces, because when you did not do that, but if you have knowledge at this time, and you're able to now open your arms to other suggestions, because 20 years from now you can't relate to what abazalwe khathesi, because generations change, you'll be relating differently, because your parents can't, if a childhood yabo, they can't relate it to your childhood yabo. So I think it's very important. So my last question that I now always ask every guest that comes here is, how would you measure your success in life? If you're now at a point where you're saying you are now successful, how would you measure it?
That's an interesting question. I think I would measure it using how I feel. I think how your life feels is more important than how it looks. So if I feel content, if I feel happy, if I feel fulfilled, purposeful, positive, I think then I'm successful.
Okay. Every answer is different, because I started asking this 3 weeks ago, and I love the answers. Yes, it's like I want to see how people can measure what their success is, and not a single person has said financial.
Really?
Hey, Mila.
Let me ask you the question.
I'm bowling. I'm joking. I'm joking. It kind of, for me, it's kind of the same thing, because I've grown very invested in working with young people, and so for me, I really would measure my success by the amount of young people who are now vocal about issues that we are facing, like where we're able to be in spaces and feel happy about being there, not forced, or $25 for coming, but you're there voluntarily and you want to make a change. For me, that will be the success that I am aiming for. So thank you so much, Andile, for coming through. And please do check out Amplified Girls TV, right?
Amplifying Girls Voices TV.
Amplifying Girls Voices TV on YouTube. Very, very, very good stuff, content that they put out there, and it's so important. You guys also have a magazine, right?
Yeah, we have
comes
a
out
magazine.
monthly.
Yeah, it comes out monthly.
On which platforms?
So if you go on our website, please just search Amplifying Girls Voices through Digital Arts, because I don't want to give you the wrong website. But if you search there, you'll find all the stuff there, all the links to our latest magazine, our podcast are on YouTube, on Amplifying Girls Voices TV, as well as the films.
Okay. Speaking of magazines, Sight Youth Network also has a magazine coming out this month. Did I tell you? Also a magazine. So it's for young people by young people. So everything that young people can think of, we covered it also. So you see, there's a lot of magazines coming out. So thank you guys for watching, and please make sure you leave some love for Andile. Until next week. Bye.